Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 17th episode of A Week Ahead News Show. Today it's just me, Liam. Normally it's my friend Tommy. He's not able to make it this week. It is our 17th episode, and it is June 30th. Tomorrow will be the first day of July, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. I thought that was right. Yep, tomorrow. Weather for today. You could see it below me. I'm going to pull up current weather, though, real quick, too, to get 76, high 85, low 73, sunsets at 8:59. Tomorrow will be rainy as well, 56% chance, 80 and 69. Excuse me. Wednesday will be sunny, high 82, low 64. Thursday, sunny, high 82, low 63. Friday, sunny, high 84, low 61. Saturday, cloudy, 88, 66. Sunday, light clouds, 89, 69. Next Monday, thunder, 45% chance, 90%. Like we said yesterday, air quality is decent, and UV index is low. First lights at 5:20. Sunrise today was at 5:53. Sunset is at 8:59. Last light 9:33 for 15 hours and 5 minutes of daylight. I'll be going into stocks real quick this week. We have stocks above us. The Dow today was up 0.6%, Nasdaq up 0.5, Russell up 0.1, S&P up 0.5. For week to date, for the Dow Jones is 3.8, and year to date up 3, S&P 500 3.4, week to date, year to date 5, Nasdaq week 4.2, year 5. Oil's down, weekly 11%, yearly 10%. 10-year treasuries down, weekly 0.1%, up yearly 0.4. Bonds are up weekly 0.6, yearly 0.4. Our first, and we'll be pretty quick with this today because it's just me, just my input. Make sure if you're joining, you drop a like. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And also share us on any social media. We have Facebook below. If you could share it, that would be great, just to get your friends to get started, seeing if they like us. Our first is our funny topic, which we do every week, which is, I guess, a Colorado attorney said honey instead of your honor during a live stream court hearing. So that's pretty funny. People will laugh, like it sparked laughter in the court, and it went viral. It's a classic class of like casual and formal, which is funny, especially when you're like an attorney. It was all over TikTok and X. Our first national news topic, though, we'll go into is how the tariffs will affect fireworks and firework prices this year. Tariffs threaten to dim July 4th fireworks, with nearly 99% of U.S. fireworks made in China. Hefty tariffs imposed this spring, ranging from 30 to over 145%, are casting a shadow on Americans' Independence Day displays. I'm kind of fine with that because we've been kind of going crazy the last couple of years. A little bit too loud for me, so that's just me though. But I get that people like it. Tariffs have skyrocketed first 5%, then 20, then jumping up to, like I said, 145, because it's hurting a small pyrotechnic businesses depending on annual orders, like even like Phantom, but they try to sell all year round now that it's legal in Ohio. Many sellers stocked up before new levies. Others stopped orders to avoid sticker shock. Fireworks for a 2025 year are most unaffected thanks to early ordering, but next year's big 250th anniversary, don't forget the country's turning 250th, they're doing like it's not a tricentennial, but maybe it is, like, I don't know, dose .5 tricentennial, I forget what they're calling it, with July 4th being on a Saturday next year, which I guess working people would love. Hopefully we get that Friday off. It'll be uncertainties because we're gonna, like, everyone's having celebrations for that. Each city's having one. All the cities are kind of agreeing to have one big party. Realtors warn small shows may scale back or go dark, and major displays could see costs spike up to 20 or 40%. Julie Heckman from the American Pyrotechnics Association said, I anticipate most people are going to get a little bit less bang for their buck. They love them puns, but I guess if you're selling fireworks, you gotta love puns. Family fireworks businesses in Ohio, John Shogi, large shows may be downgraded. Small organizers might cancel entirely, with a Michigan realtor saying thousands of family-run firework tents are already struggling to order and may charge 200 to 300% more, which is crazy. Our next national news topic is about we're not doing too much politics this week, just being me, but still stuff going on. So there was a shooting in Idaho where a guy basically caught the mountain on fire and then started shooting at and killed two firefighters. And he also injured two police officers. There's a sniper ambush on the Canfield Mountains, what it's called, on June 29th, so yesterday. Coral Deontes, Canfield Mountain National Area. Two firefighters are murdered and a third critically wounded in what authorities are calling an intentional sniper ambush. The perpetrator set blaze to lure them in and lay in wait with a high-powered rifle, which is crazy. The crews are responding to a bush spread up to 15 to 26 acres, and they were met with gunfire. A shelter-in-place order was issued for residents, and more than 300 law enforcement officers, including FBI and ATF, responded to the scene and secured it. The suspect was 20-year-old Wes Royley, was found dead near his weapon in a stand of pine trees. Unclear whether to return fire or some suicide. I don't know if that means like a hunting stand. That's kind of crazy. Authorities launched a manhunt using cell phone pings, securing the scene only after one nightfall. Following members of Fauquier, Deolney, and Cotai County Fire Departments, and the wounded is in stable condition post-surgery. Idaho Governor Brad Little and the IAFF declared the act as horrendous, while residents lined highway overpasses and tribute of a body during the body procession. This is a premeditated attack on emergency personnel, something previously unseen in Idaho. It starkly elevates concerns about the safety of first responders during wildlife calls and wildfire calls and new protective protocols they'll have to do. The incident also ignited tension between state and federal laws as multiple agencies united to handle the aftermath, which is good. You always want to see people coming together. And let me just see. They probably don't know too much because this happened yesterday, what kind of like rifle he was using and all this crazy stuff, but that's just sad. So, kind of like with, we talked about the last couple weeks with politicians getting attacked, you don't really need to hurt public servants, and especially firefighters and first responders who are there to help you. Now we'll be going into our local topics for the night. Make sure if you're enjoying, you're giving it a like. We're going a little bit quick today. Nothing too bad though. I'll take a sip of my drink real quick. Actually, I'm going to vape real quick. But share us on any social media. We'll be having a Healthy Life show, 7:30 Thursday, and then Northeast Ohio Sports Show, 8:30 on Thursday. I want to do a music show. I'm probably busy this weekend, maybe Sunday. If not, next weekend, next Saturday, I'll have time. A local news topic one is about the Howland plane crash that happened. Once again on June 29th yesterday. This was a morning flight turned fatal inside of a Cessna 441 crash near Youngstown. A privately owned, like I said, Cessna Conquest took off from Youngstown Warren Regional Airport. This was on the morning of June 29th and crashed several minutes later, landing roughly 2 miles west of the runway, all 6 on board, 2 pilots and 4 passengers. That's 2 crewmen and 4 passengers tragically lost their lives. The crash was in a residential area, heightening community concern. Was in the backyard. It did cause a fire though and a lot of damage. And I don't know if you see it in California, New York. It can cause damage. Philly to major people on the ground too. So, the investigation response, local emergency crews responded swiftly. Now the NTSB and FAA are deeply involved, piecing together the flight's timeline, weather conditions, and mechanical history of the plane. Evidence recovery and black box data collection took place over the current days, probably took place yesterday. Local reaction via township and Youngstown Warren community members expressed shock and grief, particularly given to the proximity to homes and schools, safety concerns. The tragedy puts a spotlight on private aviation risks in our region and safety measures and better safety measurements. around local airports like YNG. Highlights for long-standing role of Youngstown Warren Regional Airport in regional transport and incident response. I believe, they just got a new fire. They just got new fire trucks there, and they're kind of getting like a whole school there. But this is something that needs to be looked at and see if it's mechanical. Of a guy who was piloting, and I guess been a pilot for a long time, so something probably happened mechanical, or he was older, so it could have been pilot error, but we don't know yet. So once they get more detail on that, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the coming weeks. Like what could have went wrong. Playing like a Cessna, they're kind of fine hitting birds, but that could still do damage if it gets in the engine. But with the weather, how the weather was, it could have been that. Could have been a bunch of other mechanical issues with the actual plane itself. With planes like that too, sometimes pilots get disoriented. I know that from the past, watching stuff like that. Normally it happens in commercial planes, like faster planes, but you could still get disoriented in a regular, slower Cessna. It's kind of good how the local airports are equipped to both prevent and respond to small aircraft emergencies. We'll have to see, like I said, what the NTSB talks about here in the future and finds out from their investigation and reports. Another local topic too for the night is some areas. We have this in Boardman too, but this is primarily focused on the Warren flooding issues. WKBN for the last two rainstorms kind of talked about for Boardman ones. Basically, the sponged out streets in Warren's a race against the rain, falling storms, dumping up to 1.88 inches of rain in under an hour, which is crazy. Residents witnessed streets transform into rushing rivers, flooding front yards, submerging trucks on Todd Avenue, and pushing water onto homes. Tribune Chronicle posted about that, but trucks submerged on Todd Avenue. Director Mike Welke of Water Pollution Control warns that extreme short bursts of rain regularly overwhelm the city's drainage systems. He emphasized that while the city checks inlets and ditches, homeowners are responsible for keeping roadside ditches clear from debris from their own making. Also from the Chronicle. Now that's also talking about this like people that have areas in their houses, like for right away. A lot of these in Warren, they're not that clean, or even like for curb and gutter. I think that's what he's saying needs to get cleaned up, which is just like brushed by the residents themselves. Which is something people used to do a lot back in the day. Stuff was newer back then, so we have a lot more gravel and dust, but it could still be done. A lot of it too is just the design of the drainage systems. You can't really push it all on the people, because Warren doesn't have a combined stormwater and wastewater system anymore. They do have a older stormwater system, so it gets overloaded very easily. But really, the only way it would be the homeowner's fault is if it was a combined system and homeowners had like illegal taps. And that could happen too, but probably not as much as Warren. Happens a lot in older cities and cities that have combined systems. So really, kind of like when they built those expansions at Harding, they have to build a bunch more stormwater detention, big concrete caverns in the ground that hold water for a short amount of time, because when the whole city gets 2 inches of rain in less than an hour, that's a lot when you have a lot of concrete. And it's even like grass. Grass absorbs rain, but not fast enough, and it's going to get pushed somewhere. The impact on residents, neighborhood leaders report hotspots where water lingers for hours, even after it drains from the main roads. Councilman Gary Steinbach recalled Todd Avenue becoming impassable, even for his truck, before receding within an hour. So that's not good either. And we've had this problem in Boardman with certain areas just being flooded out with the bad rain. Like I've talked about before, since 2018, we've had 6 500-year storms and 3 1,000-year storms. And a 1,000-year storm is basically a hurricane in Ohio. 1,000 and 2,000-year storms are hurricane-level water, which is bad in that time, very rare. The fact we've had that many 500-year storms just isn't right. If it's a storm that's supposed to happen every 500 years or 2,000 years, and all it has happened in 6 years, 9 times, that's not adding up. And it's kind of scary, but that's what we're having with America and certain old places like Warren. We'll be always having that issues because they're older, they have less residents paying taxes, so than they used to have for this stormwater infrastructure, and it's all the concrete they have. What's being done so far, the city mapping flood-prone zones and tracking the occurring complaints which is good. Areas like Denver and DC that have a lot of money, they could do this with like hiring a consultant out, but this is an easier way of figuring it out too when you have less money. Stormwater officials will inspect and clear inlets, though larger infrastructure fixes may require federal or ARP funding. So like I was saying before, ARP or OPWC, there's a bunch of other stuff they can get money for stuff like this. But like we talked about for the last couple of weeks, that's getting cut. Less federal funds for less money and Build Back Better. Trump's cutting all of that and giving all the money to the rich. So we're going to see our infrastructure go down. People really cared about infrastructure, but that really only lasted like a couple weeks. And then, they forgot about it, and, people don't want to pay taxes and they'd rather get tax write-off. So that's just kind of how it works here, but we should really want to have infrastructure better and be for that funds. Not everything has to be federal. Some of these areas do need help, but if you pay more local taxes, so go to it. Less federal money and military, go help our people. And that's really it, but I have one last thing I thought and I found was pretty cool. The Rotary Club Strawberry Festival got rescheduled. But now it's a Rotary Strawberry Festival will be held at 5:30 Thursday on the lawn of McKinley Memorial. 5:30 Thursday on the lawn of the McKinley Memorial Library in Niles. Guys Without Ties will perform. There'll be a basket raffle. Rotary members will be selling strawberry shortcake while supplies last. The event is the main fundraiser for the Rotary Club and it was rescheduled from June because of the rain. There's a concert. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I think there's also like I forget what you would call that, like class reunion for Niles. So Rotary clubs always help out stuff in schools, help out the community. So that'd be kind of cool. That is Thursday, like I said, at 5:30. Hopefully you can make it. Hopefully you can make our other shows too. Once again, this Thursday at 7:30 we'll be having Healthy Living. Unless we have it Sunday again. Look up on our Facebook. Follow our Facebook in the description. Share and like on Facebook so we can get popular on there to stream on there. Make sure you like this too, so that helps out for YouTube algorithm. Tommy should be back next week, and I think Hunter will be back this week too for sports because he was gone next week, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. We only have 3 more days left of this work week, guys, so we can do it. We have Friday off for the 4th. We have a good time. Hope everyone has a good night, Ohio. Stay cold out there. Stay frosty, like I always say. Now